walking gods. Gods in flesh. You follow? Define this material world. But we so cling to this that we're gonna drive off the cliff in our car. You follow what I'm saying? We love the car so much, we ain't gonna roll out the car. We're gonna go off the cliff with the car. Because it really don't matter, because my real spiritual body is who I really am. So what point am I making? This physical existence, the human that we are, the black divine beings that we are, is the real value of our physical experience. Bottom line. That's what black nationalism is about. If you would grasp that concept, all the other ones come effortlessly. Black nationalism is a love of the people. How can there be a love of the people without love of human beings? Love of existing entities. If there's no love for existing entities, then you love only idealism. And the flesh is not God. Theology is God. You understand what I'm saying? Religious ideology is God. But if your nationalism, your Pan-Africanism, does not boil down into your reverence, love, and compassion for yourself and existing beings, not material compilations or materialistic orchestrations of things non-human. I'm going in now. All that is inhumane. We love this material stuff. We'll kill each other over this material stuff. Because this material stuff is our God while we're here. And our immaterial material body is God in heaven. So this middle point don't really matter. We have to, our reverence in the middle have to arise. We are the middle. I'm going in on this one. We're the middle between the spiritual world and the physical world. There's a middle there that meets at us. The human being is the middle. We are both the material and we're both the spiritual. We got everything that's in the table, everything that's in the chair, everything that is in the material world is in the human being. But then there's something that's not in the material world that is in the human being. So we are the complete compilation of the divinity of the spiritual and the material world seen simultaneously. Ain't that heavy? We're the divinity of both of them simultaneously. We're the culmination of what is great about the spiritual world and what is relevant about the material world. Because all that is in the material world finds its relevance in us. And all that is to be known about the spiritual world is known through us. Wow. So this middle path, because everybody talking about their reincarnations and where they were in the past and where they're going in the future, but they don't revere the remarkableness of this middle path, this meantime. It's such a juicy meantime that we overlook. Because our minds are shot out in the past or shot out into space, cosmology, astrology, astronomy. Our minds are shot out into space or our minds are shot out into the spiritual world. This middle part is just so insignificant to us. But it is the part really that makes all the rest of it really beautiful. All of it becomes beautiful right here, but we miss the beauty. Because we can't wake up here for a moment. If we can just wake up here for one moment, then what I'm saying right now will make sense. We didn't come here to show what is remarkable about the material world in the absence of physical beings. The material world doesn't need us for that. We came to show what is remarkable about the spiritual world in us and the physical world in us. God is flesh and spirit, inseparably. That's what we find in man. That's what we find in black divinity. The ancestors are very living. All those who have ever lived are living now as us. I'm going in. So all the spiritual infinite past and spiritual infinite future all meets right here as us. We don't even see it. We can look into the face of one another and see all who has ever existed and all who will ever exist. And we overlook this daily for some materialistic shit in this materialistic world. Deep. And by overlooking that, we find value in all that is controlled by somebody other than ourselves, while only temporarily. That temporary control, which is the white supremacist agenda, throw us all way off. And we wonder why we are in the condition that we are in. We must realize God in the flesh. If we want the material world to change, see God in it. If we don't see God into this, of course, we're laying by the road. We're jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge. If we don't see God in this material world, then what are we? Just a waste for white supremacists? What are we if we are unable to realize God? Why should we fight for this? If it's nothing, if it's just materialism based on Christianity, it's just, it's just dust to dust, right? Why fight for this? Now we understand why the Christian is so passive. And why our community allows what to happen to us. We understand why it happens. Because this has no meaning to them. But if for 1 second they saw God in the flesh, and they saw that what the white man was doing to us, that it was a direct act on God, then we will fight back. But hell, we're not even in the body. Right? This ain't us. So the people getting beaten, brutalized in the street, nobody's really there, right? It makes sense. The people in jail, they're not really in jail. They're actually, their body's in jail, but spiritually they're with the Father, with Jesus. I understand why our condition as a community goes the way it is. I understand why we allow our leaders to be killed and assassinated, because they were not gods among us. They were not the gods that we were looking for sent to us. Those were just men. And the spirits was just in those bodies. There was no real relevance there. And we don't need to fight them like the Secret Services fought to protect Bush and Reagan and the puppet Obama. I mean, their men are of great value. And those with their agenda are of great value. That's why no police are dying. None of them are dying. Because they are of great value physically. And we're just spirits and bodies. And actually the body is a prison. And the white man's helping us out of it, right? This is the actual mentality that is going through our people, which is why we continue to subsist in the situation we're in. What changes all that? God is the flesh. I didn't say God in the flesh. I said God is the flesh. And every quantum scientist, quantum physician, proves that. Because the spirit is in matter. And the subatomic particles vibrate and resonate into the denser particles. From the atoms and the molecules, down to the quarks, the biops, the zeals, and down to a matter that is almost formless and immaterial, wave-like. So the spiritual world is simultaneously existing in and through matter on the other side of matter, and as the source of which matter emanates from. So the spirit is in matter. And somehow matter is the spirit. The spirit is here. And if we stop it here, we're stopping it there too. If we stop the spirit, we stopped the spirit. We didn't stop the body. If it was the spirit moving the body, when we stopped the body, we stopped the spirit too. Until we let it shine through the body and flourish through the body. It will always get stopped in the physical universe, and we'll never experience our heaven on earth. I'm going to end this lecture. Thank you all for listening. Black supremacy.